Okay, good afternoon. So we're on to session 12, which is on strategic leadership, and this is the third chapter dealing with strategy implementation. So we're now well and truly into the process of strategic leadership from an organizational point of view. So strategic leadership is guiding the firm in ways that result in the formation of its vision and mission. So we need to be clear, again, going back to the earlier sessions, vision and mission do guide the overall performance of an organization. They guide the direction and focus and type of business that organization is engaged in. It facilitates the development of appropriate strategic actions, long-term actions, short-term actions, and the daily, everyday affairs of the business. It provides guidance that results in strategic competitiveness and above-average returns on investment. But it also looks at, as we found out earlier in the more recent sessions, it looks at strategic competitiveness, but also strategic cooperation. All of them are involved in dealing with this. So strategic leadership and strategic management process, slide number 6 can give you a diagram of all of that. And again, you see it's dominated by a vision and mission, followed by strategic actions, formulation of strategies, implementation of those strategies, and of course, competitiveness and cooperativeness, depending upon which direction you want to focus on. So factors affecting managerial discretion are the external environment. What's happening in the environment around them? What kind of industry structure exists? What's the rate of market growth in their sector? The number and type of competitors they're dealing with, and what kind of political legal constraints they might be working under. From an organizational characteristics point of view, the size of the organization, the age of the organization, the culture, the availability of resources, and the types of employees and the attitude of those employees from a cultural point of view are all important in terms of organizational characteristics. We can look at those as a collective in slide number 9. And then we move on to the question of managerial succession. This is a function that every organization should be proactive in dealing with, anticipating that their current chief executive or senior management team are not going to stay forever. They will retire, they'll possibly resign, they'll possibly have a debt, etc. So you need to always be prepared with a succession plan of some sort. And so that succession plan is going to be involving both the internal managerial labour markets and the external managerial labour market. So who's available internally that we can grow and develop and mentor up into a more senior position, or who do we look at from the outside, from our competitors or from the marketplace that might be able to fit within the constraints of this organization and that may be able to add value to the organization. So executives with overly long tenure with the firm may become stale. And so we may need some fresh blood, fresh thinking, etc. And so that will come generally from the outside rather than from the inside. But insiders do have a comparative advantage in that they can get on the road running because they're already familiar with the organization and what it has been doing. But outsiders generally have broader, less limited perspective and may mean that the innovation and strategic change are encouraged for the company or organization. So key strategic leadership actions include determining the strategic direction of the firm, where it's going, how it's going to get there, what are the characteristics, what are the essential features of the new organization. Are they going to change the technology? Do they introduce a new product or service range? Do they move into an international marketplace? Do they change marketplaces, etc.? All of these are strategic decisions that every company has to make. And leadership has to provide the answers to those. Now, when we're looking at core competencies, we've talked about this earlier in the course, we are looking at what's unique to the firm, what's valuable to the firm, what's difficult for the firm to imitate in relation to its competitors, and what's not substitutable. So exploiting these core competencies are going to determine the overall success in the longer term of this company. Is it going to remain viable? Is it going to continue to grow? Is it going to continue to develop? Is it going to expand its market space? Is it going to go international? And if it does, is it going to go international on a global scale or international on a localized scale? So for example, a company here in Indonesia may go international but stay within ASEAN. So it's international within a 10-country grouping. But it may also go international in terms of all of Asia. And this gets into a bigger arena, or it may go international in terms of a global perspective, so it includes international in relation to North America, South America, Africa, Europe, the Middle East, etc., etc. Developing human capital is a key variable that every organization has to pay attention to. And here, the senior management team of an organization, in collaboration with the HR function, are the ones who can recognize the need for what capital development needs to take place. Because if we go back to what we were talking about yesterday on intangible resources, this is the human capital that the company has, its innovative ability and its reputation. How can we enhance those? What are the stages and challenges that a company has to face in order to develop its human capital to be more effective in introducing innovation, creativity, etc., in opening up new marketplace, in changing the attitude and culture of the organization, and how can it exploit all of that within a global marketplace. And then we have social capital, the extent to which a company's relationships inside and outside the firm can be enhanced. So social capital is a critical asset for a firm. Inside the firm, employees and units must cooperate to get the work done. The collaboration is essential. From multinational organizations, units often must cooperate across country boundaries on activities such as R&D to produce outcomes needed by the firm, to develop new products, to launch new products, etc., etc. So this social capital of relationships internally and externally become very important in every organization. And some organizations would say that social capital is sometimes as important as human capital. We need to balance, establish balanced organizational control. So we need to build credibility to maintain our reputation in the marketplace, demonstrate the value of the firm's strategies to stakeholders, because if you've got the buy-in of your stakeholders, then you're in a much stronger position than if you've neglected those. And as we found out earlier, from a cooperative strategy point of view, it's not all about competition, it's also about collaboration. We can learn a lot from our stakeholders, we can learn a lot from our suppliers, we can learn a lot from our distributors, because they have access, direct contact with the marketplace that headquarters wouldn't have. And so they, by listening to their feedback and hearing what they're saying and identifying the trends that they're seeing emerging in the marketplace, that gives us a comparative advantage in terms of what strategic directions or changes do we need to make and what controls do we need to put in place in order to effectively deal with those. Now we get on to the balanced scorecard, and this is an important topic because it's going to be part of your overall course project. So what are the elements of the balanced scorecard? Well, first of all, we have financial concerns, the concern for growth, profitability, and the risk from shareholders' perspective. We look at it from a customer's point of view, concerned with the value customers that perceive to be created in the firm's products. So what added value are we as a company providing for our customers? And then we have internal business processes, and we have learning and growth taking place throughout the life cycle of the business. So these are four variables of the balanced scorecard that we need to pay attention to. But they're all based upon the vision and mission of the organization, followed by its strategic plan, its financial status, and how the organization is currently structured and operating, and the level of expertise of the employees, customer satisfaction level of its customers, etc. All of those go into defining what the balanced scorecard is all about. Thank you very much.